I have the pleasure to introduce Barbara Hintermann, the Director General of Terre des Hommes Foundation, who have the difficult but maybe inspiring task of concluding such a rich day, and especially after this discussion. Barbara Hintermann, after 20 years at the ICRC and 5 years heading the initiatives of Change Switzerland, and now Director General of Terre des Hommes Foundation in Lausanne, also sits on several boards, including the Climate Action Accelerator, so it's an honor to welcome you. So give us the concluding remarks. And please take the stage.
So actually, it's my honor to close this very rich conference, the discussions that have taken place here with the panelists. I have seen most of it, and I think really it was very inspiring, and to see certainly that there are so many committed and motivated organizations and people being here with us today. So tackling climate change is not a nice to have. We have heard it. It cannot be a political bargain chips or a game for governments to play, what we sometimes see. Addressing the climate crisis means confronting its root causes and implementing the measures necessary to protect the very foundation of life on our planet. To address the causes is to uphold human rights with the seriousness they demand. Now, we agree here that the urgency is undeniable. We have heard it several times today. Scientists remind us daily that the impacts and risks of climate change are worsening. Roberta Boscola from WMO shared once more very alarming statistics. That global warming is accelerating, with 2025 as the second or third hottest year, And according to UNICEF, I have to speak about children because I work for a child protection organization. So according to UNICEF, around 1 billion children live in countries at extremely high risk from climate impacts. And air pollution, closely linked to fossil fuels, causes about 600,000 deaths, children deaths annually. And this comes with a climate injustice dimension. Children in low-income countries face 7 times more climate-related health risks than those in high-income countries. At the same time, we see forces, as we heard also several times today, at work that seeks to dismantle climate action, to delay and to distract. Anne de Rietmatten from the canton of Geneva emphasized that this is not the time for hesitation, it is the time to uphold our responsibility. It is also the time for robust leadership, for each of us to step up, to stand together and to claim the space that must be filled with courage, conviction, and collective action. And this is not always easy, especially when there is internal pressure because we have to cut budgets, and there is external pressure because there is funding reductions in general. Yet amidst the challenges, there is hope, and I agree with Mini from the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent that we have also to focus on positive aspects and promote that solutions matter. Across the globe, we see a profusion of concrete solutions and bold initiatives, as we heard during the different panels. Organizations, communities, but also some cities and businesses are not waiting for permission, they are acting. They are innovating, adapting, and proving that transformation is possible. As providers of essential services, many of us here are at the forefront of this change, demonstrating that action is not only necessary, but already on the way. We have much to learn from one another, and we are eager to learn, and much to gain by sharing our successes, but also our struggles and maybe even failures. Nini from IFRC stressed that crises are local, and therefore local solutions have to be found. I guess that we all agree here. We have heard this before. Now it is time to act locally. Juliet from Bangladesh, we heard this morning, was diplomatic. I allow myself to be a bit less. I would say that Juliet does not want to wait any longer, but would like to see a sincere power shift from international organizations, real balanced partnerships, and that co-creation becomes the norm. Now, Sophie from Geneva University Hospital, as a local actor in Geneva, presented concrete examples and emphasized on the importance of working with the various professionals within the hospital to operationalize climate actions effectively. And then we heard an example from SNSM, the life jacket example. I liked that very much, presented by Christophe Chabot from SNSM, and that showed us that we have to develop partnerships with the private sector. I hope that in the future we will see the private sector sitting with us here and going and working together into the future. I would like to thank Mexico for their strong stand. The ambassador reiterated the responsibility of the states and reminded us that we have to dialogue also with the non-like-minded or the less like-minded. Now a role to Geneva. Geneva has a unique role and could play even a stronger role in the future. Our city is the home of more than 400 NGOs and hosts around 40 international organizations, including the UN, and over 170 diplomatic missions, forming one of the world's densest global governance ecosystem. Geneva is a hub of dialogue. We see this also today, be it in climate, in health, in diplomacy, science, in humanitarian action, but also in artificial intelligence and much more. And all those are linked. It is a crossroad of ideas, actually, and a laboratory for cooperation. Geneva is a bridge between science, policy, and operations. As somebody said this afternoon in a special meeting, Geneva is action, New York is talk. I like that very much. We all like that in that meeting. And I think that's the added value of Geneva. Platforms like the Geneva Environment Network foster cross-sector collaboration. And Geneva shows also a strong private sector, including with a high number of commodity trading presence and finance presence, which could play an important role, for example, in impact investing and philanthropy, but not only. Why not in concrete climate actions by themselves? At Terre des Hommes, just to give you an example, the importance to link within the organizations, among the organizations in Geneva, at Terre des Hommes, we currently try to achieve a future project by linking climate data with WMO, with health systems data from WHO and field actors, which should help to develop an early warning system for heat waves impacting maternal health. I'm sure that you have many such examples as well that link various organizations based here in Geneva. Now, as we adapt and evolve, we must use our strengths to foster a collective dynamic that turns the dialogue into action. We have heard several times, now it's action. But that I have heard last year elsewhere and probably 2 years ago. So we really have, for credibility reasons, to see how we can turn that further into action. We must provide concrete support to organizations, even including local organizations that are committed but constrained by resources. We must leverage the diversity and expertise of all actors, public and private, local and global, to respond to this universal challenge in constructive and pragmatic ways. Underwritten sees Geneva to offer a neutral platform that could support our collective effort to combat further deterioration of the health of our planet. So let us continue this conversation to refine and realize an ambitious program that serves the interest of all actors, today's generations and those to come. Roberta's call to operate against the acceleration of global warming and being collectively an exemplary role model, which hopefully will influence other actors. I would love to dream really about that. More powerful ones. The private sector is a more powerful one. Do it in particular here in Geneva. Now, I would like to acknowledge the importance of Climate Action Accelerator, the efforts of CAA to catalyze action, to bridge the gaps, to turn ambition into reality, are indispensable. CAA reminds us that progress is possible when we work together collectively, when we dare to innovate, and when we refuse to accept that status quo and advocate against political trends to minimize the risks of climate change. We at Terre des Hommes have been a member of CEA since 2020. Ever since, we have remained committed to our roadmap 2030, developed with the precious support of CAA. I believe that the collective effort of Climate Action Accelerator's community is exactly what we should strengthen, precisely because some of the world leaders and politicians are taking a dangerous direction, as we know, and also despite funding reductions. Bruno Jachom reminds us all that solid, determined, and values-based leadership is critical. He emphasized that the climate action is not a technical issue, but a strategic commitment. We all agree, I believe, that scaling up is essential, but it is also a big challenge, I have to say, in times of funding reductions. Here I would like to make to all of us a call. Temptation is unfortunately real, or high even, to cut climate action in our budgets. As mentioned by Serge Chabot from SNSM, often we do not have own funds, proper funds, unrestricted funds available, and it depends on institutional funding. But in the midterm or longer term, the costs will be higher as needs increased due to the climate change effects. We have seen the statistics. For me, today has been both deeply inspiring and profoundly alarming. Inspiring because of the collective energy and the commitment in this room and online, hopefully, and so many fantastic projects that have been presented. Alarming because the data we have seen leaves no doubt about what needs to be done. So as we leave this conference, Let us carry forward this energy, the ideas and the commitments we have shared. Let us stay strong and not cut our climate actions, despite funding challenges. And let us build the partnerships that will drive the change. And let us ensure that when we meet again, we can point to more real progress, to lives improved, to risks reduced, and to a future secured. Thank you all for your strong commitment to fight against the climate change. Thank you, CAA, the whole team, and Bruno, in particular, to having accompanied us in moving forward. I believe, and my colleague sitting there shares that, without you and your team, it would be much more difficult to navigate this journey. The road ahead is bumpy, I guess, but together we shall take the road. Thank you very much, and see you hopefully next year.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you for your kind words as well.